Hello everyone, welcome to Multilingual. I'm Karina, your coach for German and English. You know what? I've looked back at my 15 years plus teaching experience, talked to my colleagues, and made a list of some of the most common mistakes that learners of English make. Why might this video be helpful for you? Well, I guess you might recognize yours in some of them and finally get rid of those mistakes. Even advanced learners make them, and it's not that much of an issue, but there is always room for improvement, right? So in today's video, let's address 10 most common mistakes that people make when speaking English. If you're short of time today, you can use the timestamps in this video. And now, let's dive into it. One of the most common mistakes that I hear is that people forget to add an S to the end of the verb when using present simple. What does it look like? For example, you say, I wake up in the morning, have a shower, make breakfast. Afterwards, I leave home and drive to work. This is absolutely correct. When you're talking about yourself, you need no S. If you speak about someone else, for example, he, she, it, you always need to add an S at the end of the verb. For example, my roommate, he or she, wakes up later, has a shower, makes breakfast, leaves home, and drives to work. Can you see the difference? I always put an S when speaking about another person or thing. I say, I do, but she does. You go to bed, but he goes to bed. It rains, it snows, it costs. In theory, everybody seems to know the rule, but when it comes to speaking, everybody seems to forget it. So make sure not to forget to put an S at the end of the verb with he, she, and it. The next mistake can be seen in the following example. I'm working on a project at the moment. You use present continuous, and this is correct. But where is the verb to be? I am working on a project at the moment, right? So the next most common mistake is that you forget the verb to be when using present continuous. If you want to contract it, you say, I'm working on a project at the moment. And usually we do not stress am. We don't say I am. No, we say I'm working on a project at the moment. It is contracted, it's not stressed, but still it is there. And if you miss it, if you skip it, that is incorrect. I'm working on a project. He's working on a project. They are working on a project. Can you hear it? I always say the verb to be. Present continuous always consists of two verbs. The first one shows the present to be. I am, he, she, it. He, she, it is. You, we, they are. And the second main verb is ing, shows the continuous form. So together they are present continuous. She is working on a new project. And for questions, is she working on a new project? Or what are you doing? Where is he going? Remember to use am, is, are if you use the ing form. I actually have a complete video on present continuous. Please check it out. Information and advice can't be used in plural in English. Just can't. It's a rule. It might be different from your native language. For example, in German, you can easily say informations and advices. That's how it sounds. Informationen und Ratschläge. As well as in Spanish, you can say informaciones y consejos. But you can't put an S to these nouns in English. So informations and advices don't exist and sound really wrong. What's more, we don't use articles a or an with these words. If you mean just one, you can say a piece of information, a piece of advice. For plural, we use these words with much, a lot of, and some. For example, I don't have much information for you today. A lot of information is always helpful. Would you mind giving me some information on the issue? So please keep this in mind. No S with information and advice. The next issue concerns the adverbs of frequency. Here they are. And you know what happens with them? They often get misplaced. Here is a rule. Put these adverbs between the subject and the verb. For example, she always stays at the hotel. She stays always. It's between the subject and the predicate. I never have cereal for breakfast. I have. I never have. Mark and Anna rarely come on time. If you have a two-worded verb in your sentence, then you should place the adverb after the first verb. For example, she has always been very clever. They have never seen an elephant. Or you have a modal verb in your sentence? Then put the adverb between the modal verb and the main verb. She can always answer your questions. But you have to be careful with the verb to be. This verb has a very strong connection with its subject. That means you can't separate them. They are inseparable. So it must be followed by the adverb. For example, she's always late for classes. They are never interested in what I'm saying. Let's target the next issue. In this sentence, I've never been, traveled, gone, Copenhagen, the missing preposition is to, not in. So you say, I've never been to Copenhagen. The same rules works for the questions like, have you ever been to Copenhagen, for example? There is no explanation for this, or at least I don't know any explanation for this rule. You just have to remember that we use the preposition to instead of in. The next mistake concerns forming questions. For example, you want to ask someone where they stayed on holiday. And I hear this a lot. Where you stayed on holiday? Or where you stay on holiday? What you saw? What you see? To form a question in English, we need a verb that helps you ask this question. We call them auxiliary verbs, helping verbs. In present simple, it's do, does. In past simple, it's did. So the right version here would be, where did you stay on holiday? Where do you usually stay on holiday? Where does she stay on holiday? What did you see? By the way, I have a complete video on how to ask questions, and you can check it out if you want to learn more about it. The next mistake is actually not a mistake, but it's something really annoying. You know, when you overuse the words like good or very, and you say, everything was very good. It's annoying because these words don't really show your emotions. And you want to be more expressive, right? If you want to broaden your vocabulary, make sure to learn a couple of words that can help you replace the word good, nice, and very. I actually have a complete video on this topic. It's called Stop Saying Very, and I think it's a great video that teaches you a lot of vocabulary to replace these naughty words. Let me give you just a couple of them now. If you speak about someone's performance, for example, acting, presentation, you can say that it's outstanding, inspiring, awesome, amazing, admirable. Superb, for example, is one of my favorite words that I might overuse sometimes. For example, for the word interesting, you can also say informative, well done, well-written, exciting, impressive, intriguing, fascinating, captivating, and engaging. You can say, what an impressive, fascinating story. This book is quite informative. I'd recommend you to read it. If you speak about a view, you can say that it's breathtaking. For the word very, you can use extremely, totally, absolutely. You can say this trip was extremely exciting. That book is totally captivating. His speech was absolutely inspiring. Can you hear that? How interesting, how inspiring this language can be if you just use different words. The next common mistake is that you mix up much and many, saying something like, there were much people at the event. I don't have many money. In English, uncountable words go together with much, whereas countable words are used with many. So how to differentiate these words? What is much, what is many? Almost every word that needs an S in plural is countable. Many, tables, whatever. There are some exceptions, of course, like people and children have no S, but they are countable. We say there were many children, there were many people in the room. I don't have much money right now. You can't say monies, right? So money in English is uncountable. But again, I have good news for you. There is a universal word that will help you solve this problem with much and many. The word is a lot of. If you don't know whether it's much or many, you can just say a lot of. There were a lot of people in the room. I don't have a lot of money right now. A lot of. The universal word for much and many, for both. You can replace much and many with this word. The next mistake, one of my favorites, present simple and present continuous. We've already spoken about present simple in number 1 and about present continuous too. But now we're talking about the fact that people confuse these tenses. So the question, what do you do? And what are you doing? Are totally different questions. What do you do? You ask about someone's job. What are you doing? You want to know what this person is doing at the moment. Even if I examine someone, I'm a CAE, Cambridge Advanced Examiner, and one of the first questions for the examinees is, what do you do? And sometimes they really stumble upon it. They don't know how to answer this question. What do you do? What do you do here? What do you do there? You have to say what your job is. That's it. In general, what's the difference between present simple and continuous? Present simple is used for habits, repeated daily actions. And present continuous is used for actions that are taking place at the moment. For example, the typical question is, what are you doing? For example, compare these two. What do you do in your free time? That means regularly, normally, usually. And what are you doing today? It's only today. I'm not asking about your regular activities. But if you want to better understand the difference between present simple and present continuous, then please follow the link. I have another really informative video on this topic. And the final mistake for today also concerns tenses. Tenses are quite a challenge for someone learning English. On my channel, you can find a couple of videos on different tenses already, including present perfect continuous, present simple, present continuous, future. So the last common mistake people make is this one. I hear this a lot. I work for the company for over 5 years now, or since last year. Work is present simple and is not suitable in this sentence. With since and for, we have to use present perfect continuous. For the verb work, it's have been working. For he and she, it's has been working. And you have to say, I have been working for this company for more than 5 years now, or since last year. The students who I teach know exactly how they have to use it. They know the rule, and I forbid them to make this mistake. Well, that's it for today. Thanks a lot for joining me in this video. I hope it was helpful, and from now on, you'll be able to avoid these mistakes. Take care and see you in my next one. Bye, guys.